Hi, and welcome to Live Lessons. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee. I hope you guys are doing well. Type in where you're from. That's always fun for me to kind of see where everybody is from. Sorry, we have not had live lessons for, it's been probably 3 weeks. I have been out of town and am now back in town, and we are so excited to have with us Will McFarland, the great Will McFarland.
Yes,
Will,
the great.
Will, thank you so much for being here. We're going to get us started off with a tune. Look at all these people. We've got San Antonio, New York, Syracuse, New York.
That's great.
Graham, Washington. I was just up in Spokane area. Portland, Oregon. Michigan. Vancouver, BC. Anaheim, California. All kinds of great things. Well, welcome, everybody. Let's get started. Maybe we can just kind of do that little E to get us started off. Something like that. Something like that. A little E blues, a little E boogie woogie blues to get it started off with. Let me make sure I'm back in tune again with this guitar. I'm playing this guitar that we had here. We've been doing some promo stuff with it. I believe it's called a Nighthawk guitar. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so it's kind of a fun guitar. I like it because it's got that small body, and I'm a small-bodied guy, and but it's got a normal-sized neck, so I like that a lot. We're going to be giving some things away later on in the broadcast. I'll be giving away, what are we giving away? We're giving away some strings by DR. DR had sent us some strings, so we're giving away some great pure blues strings. Kind of have a blues theme tonight, a blues rhythm guitar theme. Giving away a blues course that I did, and then we're giving away, the good folks at Epiphone have given us that guitar. So we are going to, one of you lucky critters is going to win a Epiphone electric guitar tonight. So this is going to be a good night. Let's get right into it. Will, for those of you, Will was on our show November of last year, November 8th of last year. I was looking it up today, and it was just one of the best programs we had last year. And just so glad that Will is able to be back here with us. So
it's always a pleasure.
Will, you've been doing quite a bit of things since then. I know
I spend most of my time in headphones, which is a nice thing to be able to do. I actually get paid for what I leave out. I don't actually know that much to put in, but I know what not to do most of the time. But I've had some interesting things lately. I was very fortunate I got to work on Joss Stone's new record.
Joss is from
England,
the UK, and she's kind of a
very
R&B.
soulful singer. My gosh, I kept, her vocals that went down with the tracks. I was thinking, what's she going to do that's better than that? That's just a rough. And I think, really,
And she's just like 30 years old.
Oh, she's younger than that.
Really?
Yeah, she's young
and she's
talented.
won several Grammys so far.
She's very, very good at what she does. I mean, she'd walk right out and put all the background vocals. I wouldn't hear a pitchy moment.
Did you record here?
Yeah, we recorded in Nashville. Did it at Blackbird, and the guitar players. I got to be there with Ernie Isley. So I was just 1 degree away from Jimi Hendrix. I thought that was pretty cool. But of course, Ernie's great in his own right, and it was this old soul stuff. It was really actually sort of right up our roundhouse. I think they wanted to. I think I did parts like that.
Yeah.
At one point, we're doing something like. I was just doing real kind of fourths and little two-stop things, and they had a young, real hot rhythm section like Tony Royster on drums, and then a bunch of old guys on guitar and keyboard.
Wow! So they recorded everything here in Nashville.
The stuff that
y'all did
was on. I was probably only on about half the record, but it was just.
When was this? About a month or two ago?
No, it was back in the spring, a little before summer.
Is the project out?
Yes, it was just released.
And what was the name
called?
of it, do you know?
I think it's called Soul Sessions Volume 2 or something like that. I wish I should know.
Wow, that is really cool.
But that was great fun. It was really getting to play in my roundhouse. Getting to play the way I did in Muscle Shoals all those years, the way I did with Bonnie. Where again you're paid because they want you to be a listener.
Yeah.
They always say good players are good listeners.
That's right.
They want you to listen to what's required, and if it needs a hole, you need to stress there or something like that.
So we're not really talking about solo work at this point. This is just the beauty of a well-crafted rhythm guitar part, laying down in a mix. Have you ever heard that, where you're just listening to a track and the guy's not soloing, but he's just creating all this groove, all this interest, melodic interest going on behind whatever's happening, the singer or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a craft in itself, playing rhythm guitar and like that.
There's a school, you listen to the old
Steve Cropper.
He was Memphis, and of course Reggie Young was Memphis too. The Memphis Boys moved to Nashville, and he's just one of the best. And Cornell Dupree was a guy associated with New York. I know he's originally from Texas. And Bobby Womack, Curtis Mayfield, they had all that. That kind of Hendrix, I think, got a lot of it from that school.
Right, that does sound a lot
that
like
wind cry. You know, just that real sweet rhythmic, you know.
What are some songs that really have rhythm guitar parts in it that just make the song? What are some of the classic?
Oh, the first one that jumps into my mind has got to be Drift Away by Dobie Gray.
Drift Away by Dobie Gray.
I just think that's one of the finest rhythm guitar playing masterpieces. I mean, if you really want to get into some of the old, really intense rhythm playing, I mean, just James Brown live at the Apollo Volume 2. I mean, there's some great rhythm play. Clean Up Woman. I can't, what was it? Something like that. And, you know, there were 3 parts. One of the rhythm parts was, I haven't done it in years, one of them just, and the other one's like,
oh, yeah.
something like you hear,
they just fit together like puzzle pieces. Really, truly great parts. They just everything fits like cogs in a wheel. Everything goes together. Everybody has its little place in the mix.
I love that stuff. And or a lot of the James Brown stuff, you know, the rhythm guitar player might just be one guy's going. And the other guy's going. But you can see here how even that works. Once we start doing something like that, and immediately it's just we're doing where I'm on the downbeat and you're on the and of one.
Yeah.
Or,
play that part. I can do that part. What's
okay? You know, I think that was Hot Pants. I'm not sure, but you know, or maybe it was Get On Up, or you know, I've lost the title, but. Just over the years, I love the 2 guitar players working together. I was never the kind of guy that would like to go out and just be a power trio guy. I always really liked having another guy that, you know, that would work off of you.
Right.
And maybe one guy's just going, you know. Like when a man loves a woman. You know, when you listen to that old soul stuff, and you know, we're just doing it off the top of our head, but it already sounds like a song you want to put words to, you know, and I just love that, you know.
That's mixing 2 little parts like that. A lot of times you may be in a situation where you're playing in some sort of a band situation, and you have 2 guitar players. Oh my goodness, well, what do I play? The guy's already taken all the chords. Well, you got to work it out. You got to talk it out between yourselves about what part. Okay, you're going to go high, or you're going to do this little. Okay, well then I'm going to go, and you can create this thing without both of you going. You can create this whole little magic if you don't default to open chords and strumming, which is what everybody goes for. Try and think beyond that, trying to pull more of a guitar part out of that.
I would honestly say that 90% of the studio dollars I've made, maybe because I've done so much acoustic guitar, this isn't necessarily true, it's probably a factoid, but of the electric guitar playing, I rarely hit more than 2 strings at a time.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that 90% of the electric guitar playing I've done for a living.
Yeah.
I've hit 2 strings at a time.
Yeah.
Not truly that you find a part where even if somebody... You know, I'm still, you know... What I'm doing here is even there, I'm hitting... Obviously, if I know that's my C chord, that's my next C chord, that's my next C chord, and I just pick sort of off the top of my head. You need a little bit in the reservoir to go, you know. And if I go break this C chord up into those two,
right,
and I go, I'm only hitting 2 strings at a time, you know.
Yeah.
But you can hear, or even. I only hit 2 strings at a time.
I remember hearing just a great explanation of that by Paul Jackson Jr., great rhythm guitarist out in
He's great.
more on the funk end of things. But tells about a concept of when you see a chord, let's say an A minor chord, you don't just play an A minor chord. You break the chord apart into its, you find little triads that are inside of it. Even just one note. Or he could do a little. And you can do your.
I'm just picking up. I know that's an A minor, that's an A minor, that's an A minor. So to go, that's like, just picking 2 notes out of that A minor, that A minor. So if you go, and all of those are available to you, and then the rest of it's just up to you where you want to land. And so that's a lot of my philosophy, especially since you realize when you're cutting a record, as a keyboard player, he's got a left hand.
Yeah.
He's generally voicing somewhere around the human voice.
Yeah.
You've got a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's another guitar player. You don't want to get everything all mixed up in the middle, so you sort of listen. If somebody's down here, I'm going to start, if somebody's see, immediately I'm just open it up. Or whatever, I picked different ones. The first one was a 6/9 approach, the next one was like 7. Or you could, more Memphis right there.
And you're getting that Memphis sound because of those 6ths.
Yeah, very, very Memphis.
You're just going on, that's a typical thing. When you're in, let's say we're in the key of C, which is what we were in there, and I'm taking the first 3 notes of the C scale, but I'm throwing a 6th on them, so I have a C and this low E and a D and an F and an E and a G, and you just mess around on those.
I think people ought to know where all of those are in any key.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the easiest things to know. He did it up here. Well, in C, it's down here. And if I go to F, G, C, D, E, just to be flexible, to have that in your repertoire so that, to know it on the D and the B string, and then know them all on the G and the E string, because they're the same basic chord forms.
The same shape, yeah.
Or you can see that they're all the same chord shapes wherever you want to go. You can play in the key of B flat. Don't be intimidated by the off keys, the stuff in between the dots. And
I like to practice that. I'll just do just exactly what you're doing. I'll take a scale, say a C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We're just going to go up it in 6ths. So I have a C and an E, F and a D, G and an E, A and an F, B and a G, A and a C, D and a B, and then you eventually end up here. So I've done it. Maybe you can do thirds down. Kind of just play different things. If I do it on the next string set, like if I was in the key of F, and you find different combinations there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Here's one more. You can flip it even more. Like if I'm back in C. If I throw that C, if I do the E up on top and throw the C on the bottom, I end up with a 10th. That's a little bit wider interval.
Sounds like
whatever that is. What is that?
Sounds actually a lot like.
Yeah. From Blackbird. Yeah. All of those are using tenths, so it's just the same interval. Same interval as a third. You're just flipping the octaves.
Flipping them around, going down.
Yeah. Now, over your career, you've played with so many great people. How long did you play with Bonnie Raitt?
Oh, that was so fortunate. She took me on in '74, and I played with her till 1980. So
Really?
I did the '70s. Yes, the great and awesome '70s.
Classic time.
It was a classic time, and the amazing thing wasn't just the fact that I was on stage, so much with someone who I still consider the finest interpretive singer of my generation.
Yeah.
But the people that she hung around with, that she loved, that loved her, that we'd tour with Little Feat and be on stage with Ry Cooder and Jackson Browne and David Lindley and so I was there. Not to mention how many shows we did with Muddy Waters and Buddy Guy and Junior Wells and B.B. King and to just be like this. And I'd wander into Muddy's dressing room just to listen to him talk. I really would. I mean, I was a 22, 23-year-old kid, and just.
And she came across you in a club?
I was very thankful for that. Her manager, Dick Waterman, who's one of the most amazing humans on earth, truly a journalistic photographer, just a thinker, and he was one of the guys that really brought Sun House and some of Mississippi, Fred McDowell and those guys. He went and sought them out and found out what they were doing and got them back and introduced Bonnie to them.
Yeah.
And he lived in Cambridge, and I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And he started showing up at the gigs. I was just sitting in playing rhythm guitar. I remember I actually think the first song when he brought Bonnie to see me was like "Let's Stay Together." I don't remember, but I was just playing in a local band, and playing an Al Green song. And at the end of it was the last song of the set, and Bonnie jumped. Dick had brought Bonnie that night after coming to 3 or 4 shows. And Dick told me later he just thought I might have she had been doing a lot of touring with like Orleans and Little Feat, and she would come out with Freebo and do mostly an acoustic set, and then they'd come out and maybe do 3 or 4, but she felt for the Late for the Sky tour, which was the first tour I got to do. It was 50 cities with her and Jackson Browne, and she just thought she wanted her own band for that. Yeah. And so Dick found me and flew me to L.A. As apparently people are all going, you found a guy in a bar in Cambridge, you live in L.A., you can have anybody you want. And nobody was almost nice to me for the first day because they were sure they were going to have to ship me home, But I had done so much cramming on her stuff. I mean, I just went in and learned it in just real simple parts, you know. And so she said, well, let's run through Under the Falling Sky, and I just do it. And she goes, well, that was easy. Let's do. And it just made rehearsal so easy. I think doing my homework really ultimately won the day. Yeah. And then thankfully she kept me around for another 5 years. So. Yeah. Wonderful. And as I said, because of that opened so many doors. And even then, it's what connected me to the Muscle Shoals people and
down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And there you played with like Etta James.
Oh, I was so fortunate. I got to work for Jerry Wexler, so iconic as well as Etta. And I cried when Etta died. And again, we had run into her back in the 70s too with Bonnie, and amazing voice. And she came to Muscle Shoals, and I got to record with Etta. Did I believe it might have been her last record, I'm not sure. But Jerry Wexler producing, and Roger Hawkins on drums. Roger Hawkins is a drummer on Respect and I'll Take You There, and but old time rock and roll. That's the thing about Muscle Shoals. Nobody realizes that the same rhythm section did Kodachrome for Paul Simon, Old Time Rock and Roll. I'll Take You There, and Torn Between Two Lovers, and Shoot Out at the Fantasy Factory, for Traffic. I mean, they were so versatile. They just became the artist. Great bunch of guys, and they'd used so many guitar players over the years, and Dwayne Allman being the original one. He did the slide stuff on The Weight for Aretha, and the great stuff at the end of Hey Jude for Wilson Pickett. And then
And so you were in Muscle Shoals, or I know you still live.
I still live there. Yes,
still live in Muscle Shoals now. And you were playing actively with them for
20 years.
20 years.
I ended up doing a bunch of stuff, a lot of R&B, a lot of Little Milton,
Yeah.
and Johnny Taylor and Bobby Blue Bland.
Bobby Blue
and
Bland,
just doing
yeah.
straight, real R&B.
That classic rhythm section, that Muscle Shoals rhythm section, the Swampers.
The Swampers.
The Swampers is what they were called. Eventually found their way into the Musicians Hall of Fame, of which you were inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame.
As a friend of the Swampers, they were gracious. They invited, Randy McCormick as well, who had done so much work with them, and Clayton Ivey, and can't believe I'm drawing a blank right here. I know them all like crazy. Twins, gosh.
And so that was back when.
I went blank.
When was that? When were you inducted in the Musicians Hall of Fame?
That was 2008.
2008. And who else was going with you at that time? Steve Cropper, did I see
Yeah,
that?
Booker T went in that
Booker
night.
T?
The Crickets, Billy Sherrill, and I mean, I felt I was in rare air. They honestly called me and said, "Look, you played with us 20 years," and Pete Carr was the guitar player who did so much of the the Kodachrome and the Twin stuff for the Atlantic Crossing record for Rod Stewart and all of that. Pete Carr was long-standing, and he went in and so we went out and played the Skirmerhorn. That was great fun, and I thought we just knocked it out of the park. Percy came out. We did When a Man Loves a Woman.
Yeah.
Linda Doolittle. And we did Respect and Never Loved a Man. And then Kid Rock came out. And we did Old Time Rock and Roll.
Yep. Yep.
You hear the song Sweet Home Alabama. The fourth verse is now Muscle Shoals has the Swampers. Been known to play a tune or two.
Yeah.
Get me off so much, pick me up when I'm feeling blue. How about you, Sweet Home Alabama? And so the Swampers are just, to me, they're iconic. I knew them when I truly knew who they were was 1972. And I know they've been cutting stuff before that, but in 72 was when the Bealtitudes album came out with I'll Take You There and Respect Yourself with the Staple Singers. And that was just one of the greatest feeling sounding records of all time. And so I started paying attention to Muscle Shoals.
Tell us a little bit about before we take a quick break here, and then we're going to take some questions here in a little bit. Before I want to do that, so y'all be thinking of your questions. Tell us about your guitar you have there.
This is a Les Paul. It's a reissue classic, 1960. And I'd been looking for a Les Paul. I wanted a guitar to do studio work. I wanted to do, I wanted that. I didn't have that on anything, I mean, Strats and Tellys, and they have the longer neck length, and so there's a different kind of low volume spank for the rhythm stuff that I developed. But I'd had a couple of Les Pauls and never identified with it. And I went on a search. I started looking around, and this is the one I ended up with. I love this guitar. It just feels great.
What kind of different sounds can you get out of it?
Well, the front pickup's just real, very round,
Very beefy, though.
Yeah.
Very, very full sound.
So it's that, and in the middle, the thing I like is you could get a little bit of that. You could get a little bit of that kind of spank going with it. Mm-hmm. And also the middle setting is really, to me, in a lot of ways, has that. Very B.B. King.
Yeah.
Then, of course, this back pickup, and I love to overdrive it and go, it gets that.
And you're just running through, what is that, an Ibanez Tube Screamer?
Actually, I've had it modded. Yeah, I had it modded, though, by a guy named Josh Scott. It's a JHS pedal.
Oh, yeah, JHS, yeah.
And and this one, just very little. I run my overdrive actually very low. I'm playing through a 69 Fender Princeton Reverb that's been
just 112 speaker.
Just a 110.
110. That amp,
Yeah.
I wish you could see it. It's behind the curtain.
It's on 2.5 back there.
It is about this big. This is not a large amp, and it gets a huge sound.
Great sound, and basically I'm a very simple. As I said, I run actually I'm not a distortion saturation guy, so I generally run the overdrive low and just bring up to line level. Get a little hair on it, just sound like I turn the amp up maybe a number, know.
Had a question. What size strings are you using? Sean McGill is asking that.
I use
gauges and things like that.
I use 10s, and I use 10s because if I do a lot, I can't do it with more than a 17, probably.
Yeah. Kind of that steel guitar bends.
And I do a lot of bending, and so I use 10s.
Cool.
And these are just this guitar it's lighter than the average Les Paul. And I don't know what the story is behind it. Maybe it's just some of that
chambered
lighter.
Or something.
It
I don't know.
could be chambered. I never asked. But it just it sort of split the difference between a Les Paul and a 335 in a lot of ways. It just had one of those great, very acoustic you can hear.
Yeah.
Even when I turn it off, you can't probably hear it much, but a lot of Les Pauls don't ring with that kind of acoustic.
Yeah.
And this has a very acoustic. Very,
Well, while we're talking about some strings, let's give away something. We're going to give away some DR strings. These are great strings. Greg Voros had turned me onto these. You met Greg. I took you down. We met Greg the other day.
What a great tour.
Greg gave us the official tour of Gruhn's guitars, and I think we could have been there for another couple hours.
Yeah, it's just guitarnography. You just start going, look at that, they take you up to the second floor, and there's 256 gold tops with the old cream P90s, and just black guard tellies. I mean, you just start going,
That's ridiculous.
Great stuff.
These are three of from their Pure Blues series. These are two of them are a light set, which goes from 10 to 46. And then the other one is a 11 to 50, and these are great strings. If you want to be a part of our giveaways, you have to just be logged into the chat, and we see your name in the chat on this end, and then we can pick your name from that. So the winner of these three sets of strings is Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe. So Grandpa Joe,
that's awesome.
You just won these. What I need you to do, Grandpa Joe, is email us at service@legacylearningsystems.com. service@legacylearningsystems.com. Email us your address and phone number and whatnot, and we will send these out to you. But if you don't email us, then we don't know where you're at. So, Grandpa Joe, congratulations. That's fun.
I was just going to answer a question and say, these are the stock pickups that came in this guitar.
Yeah, someone was asking about that. New picker, you were asking the type of pickups on that.
Yeah, and they are just stock. They're actually hotter than a PAF. They're very hot. A lot of times when I plug it in after I've been playing something else, it
jumps.
Everything jumps out at you. But in the studio, they're so present. It's one of the best overdubbing guitars I've ever owned.
Wow.
It's such a great studio tool. And it's pretty hot, but these are the stock 1960 classic. It says classic.
But it's not an old guitar. I mean, it's not that.
No,
it's
a
not
mid.
From the 60s.
It's a mid 2000s. I think it's 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice guitar. I've had 0247 Strat. It wasn't a great guitar. I have 0533, and it's a brilliant. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's great.
Yeah.
Just because it's new doesn't mean it's lousy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some great new stuff, and there's some lousy old stuff. But if it is a good old thing, it's awesome. But
Yes.
this is just a good guitar. It's a really good guitar.
I tell you, we're going to take a break here in just a second. And before we take a break, can you play us something? Anything? Sing us a tune, maybe?
Sing you a tune. Okay.
Or we can do something together, whatever you want to do.
Let's do a little bluesy thing. Like a little, maybe like a. Five minor. Back in the circle, back where I belong. Back in the circle, back where I belong. And you threw your arms around me like I was never even gone. Tried to leave you, tried to get out on my own. Tried to leave you, tried to get out on my own. Now I'm back in the circle where there ain't no place like home. Take one. I found out just how alone a man could feel. I found out just how alone a man could feel. Now I'm back in the circle where I know your love is real. Just turn it around. Back in the circle where I know your love is real. It's in an E flat. Well, I'm back in the circle where I know.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, then we'll get your questions ready. We'll be taking your questions here in just a minute. We'll see you in just about 60 seconds.
Furthering your education, Legacy Learning Systems offers a unique resource to all students, the Learn and Master online community. Here you can communicate with fellow students and course instructors and immerse yourself into an interactive community where knowledge, fun facts, and experiences are shared. Signing up is easy. Take your learning to the next level. The Learn and Master online community, your place for serious instruction. Introducing the Learn and Master Spotlight Series. This affordable line of specialized courses is designed to address specific areas of interest. Each of these focused programs contain 3 to 8 DVDs of instruction, a downloadable workbook, and access to our online support community. And each provides a more in-depth study of specific subjects. With the same multiple modes of learning and high-quality production as the comprehensive Learn and Master courses, the Spotlight Series delivers great instruction at an affordable price. Take your dream to the next level with the Learn and Master Spotlight Series.
All right, well, thank you for sticking around for the second half of the broadcast. Actually, it'll be a little bit less than the second half. I don't want to keep Will here too long. You got to drive back to Alabama tonight.
I do.
About 2 hours from here?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
At night a little less.
Night a little bit less. Let's give away one thing real quick before we get to some questions. Several years ago, I did a blues course. That this is 6 DVDs. We have some interviews that I did with not only my teaching, just kind of basic blues technique, but we also talked to Jack Pearson.
Oh, he's one of my favorites. I don't know if there's anybody better than he is.
He's brilliant, and we have Johnny Highland is on this as well. Somebody's about to win this blues guitar course. The winner of this blues guitar course is C.T. Gull. C.T. Gull. You have just won this. So if you already have it, then give it away to somebody. C.T. Gull, send us your name and address, service@legacylearningsystems.com. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, everybody give a round of applause to Fabian Fledge, our official unpaid moderator for Live Lessons, Gibson's Live Lessons.
Awesome.
Fabian, you're here every week, even when I'm not here. I was actually out of town last week and forgot to tell anybody. And so I got an email from Fabian saying, "Are we having live lesson?" And when I got that email, Fabian, was on Thursday, so I completely missed it. So I missed our Tuesday night live lesson. But we'll be back on track now. Cool. Let's get to some questions. Let's see. HB Legacy, you're asking a question here on playing the D sus. Is it okay to leave the second in place because the fourth finger overrides the second finger?
Sure. Whatever's comfortable.
Whatever's comfortable. The official answer is
right.
For that. Yeah. But whatever the musical situation.
Plus the fact when you start getting into it, if you start going, you're going to want you learn to do little pull-offs like that. So keeping the second one in place is actually sort of I do.
Yeah.
Anything, if you're going, it gives you options because if you want to pull it off the right notes there, where if you go, you might not want the two open. So I don't know. I think my default mode is keeping it there.
Yeah, I keep it on as well.
My favorite pedals?
Mr. Breeze 55 is asking, what are your favorite pedals?
I really, really like the Mirage RAF.
Is that
it's a compressor. It's a line level compressor.
JHS pedal?
No, actually that one is FX Engineering. I love JHS pedals. I have a Morning Glory. I have his modded Tube Screamer. I have an All-American.
I think we gave away one of those last time.
It's a rockin' pedal, and I admit I have a Klon Centaur that I used for 10 years that I'm still real used to.
What does the Mirage do?
The Mirage right here, like this is a guitar without it on. Believe it or not, you didn't hear much because of how hot these pickups are. I have it turned down, but I set it because it's like a line level limiter, so I don't spike this going out over the air.
Yeah.
But like, if I just gave you a little bit, it does actually. You hear a little.
There, it's on.
But it's a compressor, and it's also so that if I'm playing clean and I wanted to go maybe. You hear it grab the compressor right there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I want to do real sweet, really nice volume swells or whatever. And so the compressor holds level. As I say, this Morning Glory, it breaks it up a little, but it's very transparent. It just makes your amp go sort of from clean to Wind Cries Mary, and then the other one's for a little more. Probably pegged you there for a minute. And then I put a little tap. I like a little delay.
That's the. I have a Boss DD5.
This is a DD5 because it's got a tap feature in it. So if I want to go, like.
Yeah. I'll try and take a picture of Will's gear, and we'll put it up on our Twitter page.
I've been pulling my stuff apart so much and getting less and less. I had a nice pedal train and things, and I just started getting less and less down to about 5 pedals. I'm down to 4 really. I have a little compressor.
And you've got a wah, got a Crybaby.
Yeah, I do. Well, actually, this is a Buddha.
Oh, okay.
And I have a.
Oh, that's nice. Doesn't really color the sound.
This is a great wah-wah pedal. I have a Thomas Organ 1969 Crybaby that's great too, and maybe even a little warmer than this, but they swear, they do a lot of R&D, and they swear they nailed the Hendrix specs, but if you want to... if I were to hit there... So, very, very, very nice, and it's nice with a wah-wah. I like using,
Yeah.
Just that sort of middle little half inch.
Hey, John, is there a way that we could get a shot of the pedals? Sorry, we're just kind of talking. This is live. Yeah. Sorry. We'll try and get a shot of the pedals over here in the next couple of minutes.
But yeah, that's a real sweet sounding wah-wah pedal. Cool. You never know when you're going to need a wah-wah pedal.
You never know when you're going to need a wah-wah. That is true. That is true. Sorry for the moving camera here. We're just going to try and get a shot of these pedals here so you guys know. I'll try and get a picture of them as well. We have a Boss DD5 here. That's the white pedal on the end. The green one next to that, that's the modded Ibanez
Tube Screamer.
TS9?
Yeah, it's a TS9.
TS9 modded TS9. Then the gold-looking one is the Morning Glory. The red one is the Mirage. That's the compressor. And then there are 2 black ones, an MXR, which doesn't look like it's plugged in.
No, it isn't. I use it for an analog delay. It's a little carbon copy.
Yep.
That I just got with my Christmas money one year when somebody said they're great, and they are great. I just don't have it plugged in right now. I picked my delays,
And then what's the other one? A tuner?
Just a tuner.
Just tuner. Yeah. And then the water bottle is in front of the
Buddha.
The Buddha. Yes, there's the Crybaby.
There's the Buddha.
Buddha wah there.
Buddha wah. Sort of fun to say.
Buddha wah. While we catch our breath, there's a couple of questions from the discussion board. Kurt from Minnesota asks, Can we touch on the use of the flatted third, the fifth, the seventh, the flatted fifth? I know you've taught a lot on just throwing in that flatted fifth.
Most people, to kill several birds here, when people start playing the blues, even if it's a major blues, they start with the minor pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note scale. Most of you might know it. So it's... But what I just inadvertently did was add a flat 5 to that scale.
Yeah.
I went... That...
Yeah.
And that's our... And it's that flat 5. It's that flat 5 that makes blues interesting. The flatted third, the idea of a blue note is that you're not committing to a major. Like if you started playing an A, if I went... It's not very bluesy. But if I go... Even though he's playing a major, I'm... See, and I'm actually playing minor against it, but I'm not going, it wouldn't sound good if I did this either. You see, hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By hitting neither the flat third or the major third sound good by themselves. A blue note is slightly, and that's a feel thing. I'm between the major and the minor third. I'm just, So you can hear what I'm doing. And then by adding here's the 7. And if I want to add a flat 5 to go. See, now that made it more, if I just stayed, it's okay, but if I go, and I played the minor third, but I don't play it as a minor third. I'm choking it. It's a blue note. That's the definition of a blue note. I don't think of these things to say out loud. Yet, how do you break out of your notes sounding like scales? That's the thing. I think the idea is to learn the intervals so much in your soul that you're really singing along with what you're not going... Or you're going to sound like Louie Louie all day long, which was a great solo in his day, really. But you should know. You should know the intervals away. If I'm there, I know the third is 7 flat, 5, 4, And the way to break out of it sounding like scales is to play what you're hearing in your soul. Really, that's otherwise you're gonna, it's gonna be math.
Singing when you play is a little secret in breaking yourself and your mind out of finger patterns. Finger patterns are always going to kind of be where you want to go, but singing forces you out of that. And so trying to sing when you play, you'll start going different places than you would not normally go if you were being led by your hands.
And not only that, you have to take a breath every now and then. If you're just doing scales, you won't. But if you have to take a breath, you'll stop, and those breaths are mostly they're the more interesting things. It makes the next note more interesting.
Yeah. If you're a singer, there's this normal phrasing that happens. You sing for a while, then you have to take a breath. You do that. A lot of times as guitarists, if we're not paying attention, we will just blah and play all the way through it and not play in phrases that have a point of interest, and then they back away, and then interest, and then they back away. And that's what creates a more melodic, a part that makes more musical sense, because you don't sing in one straight line without taking a breath, so we really shouldn't play that way if we're trying to go for a singing melodic.
It's interesting. The first session I ever did with Bobby Bland, he'd had a guitar player, Wayne Bennett, who was an iconic player as well, who'd been in his band for 35 years. The first time, here's this guy, me, I'm sitting over there on the side of the stage, and the first tune was start on the 5, something like that. But when it went to the 5, I went. He went, take your time, son. Just the first lick I ever played. So the next time, da da da, da da da. And how much more entering is that? Then it's like. It's the holes I'm leaving. See, less is more. It's just one of those, and somebody asked. I start realizing time's really slipping up on us here, and people have asked about all these different blues styles. The main thing I'd really suggest is just go listen to the people. Blues, when I was 22, I didn't feel that I could play it when I stood next to Buddy Guy and B.B. King, but you'd start to feel something, and I realized that my approach to playing blues was much more rock-based, as opposed to what we're doing now, which is now all my rock and roll is blues-based, It just sort of became my foundation. I don't live there all the time. I mean, you still build walls and a roof, and you need other parts of the house, but my foundation is very much a blues foundation. And it's from those, even what we were just doing, all the two-stop. Like sometimes the old guys, you can tell the difference when they want that or they want, or a Delta blues thing like any. That kind of thing where it's very primary, or you're doing a slide thing, This guitar has pretty low action, Which usually you do open G. But
now is that a ceramic slide? What is that?
This one isn't. I usually use one, but at the NAMM show, this guy brought me over to these guys, and it's called Latch Lake or whatever, and it won a shootout of some kind. It's actually a great slot.
Because it's a little bit of a.
Yeah, it's apparently some bake. They brought it to 1,000 degrees. He gave me the wrap, and it was, and you can really get that lull, Just really
beautiful,
really nice slide. But I just encourage you to listen to the blues stuff,
As we're kind of wrapping up here, we're kind of heading toward home. Let me give you a couple of announcements, and then I want to play one thing. Then we're going to play one thing together. First of all, thank you guys for being with us. I know we've been off for a couple of weeks. The next live lesson after this one is going to be September 18th, next Tuesday night. And we're going to be shifting gears. We're going to be talking about acoustic guitar processors and getting a great sound out of your acoustic electric guitar using processors and things like that. Also, our newsletter will be coming out next Tuesday as well, so be looking for that. Let's see, what do we have? We have over in Gibson Skills House, which Fabian, maybe you can put up the thing for that. Skills House, we've got lesson I put up last week, which is the last of my money chords series. This is the money chords in E. So there are certain voicings that sound particularly good in these various keys, and so we've done C, E, G, D, and I think this is the last one where the money chords in E. So now that one's up there, and then I have one that we put up just today on blues double stops, some of the two stops that you were talking about. Yeah, you did one of them. That was right out of lesson. That sort of a combination. Yeah.
I like hammers like that. But also, can I say one thing too? A lot of people go for speed to try to, before they get tone. I would really encourage everybody to say, what do I want to sound like? Or whatever, just one note. If I could only hit one note. And don't try to get any faster till you can give everything you do that much value. It's like speed is, and notes are subjective, but tone and feel aren't. You can always tell when somebody's in the pocket and somebody's not. And I really encourage you to get used to your guitar, bend in tune. Just, and make sure that even what I'm doing now is I'm just I'm playing instead of hitting notes or pushing down strings on the neck. And speed will come with muscle memory. Yeah. But tone is something. Figure out the tone you want to sound like and then sound like that.
Yeah.
Don't let your guitar even dictate it.
When you play, I had a good friend of mine, David Moyes, great guitar player, used to play with Air Supply, Australian guitarist. He would say things like, make your guitar say something when you play. Don't just mumble. Don't just musically mumble. Say something when you play. Think about what you want to say and make it come through your instrument. Not that it has to be a billion notes. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes the most profound things can be the simplest of ideas played well. Yeah. Okay. We've got a couple of songs that the guys have put up over at Skills House. One of them is the Best of Me by The Starting Line, Last Chance by Jet, and Permanent by Acceptance. So that's that. If you like our live lessons, which I hope you do, then please let us know. You can like the page. You can like us on Facebook. We have a Gibson's Learn to Master Guitar Facebook page, and we put all kinds of lessons and things over there, so please take advantage of that. We need to give away one more thing, and then I wanted to play a song. We're going to give away this Epiphone acoustic guitar, Special 2, kind of a Les Paul-looking guitar. And
it's like a Junior.
Yeah, kind of a Les Paul Junior looking guitar. It comes with an amp and strap and a little soft bag and stuff like that. And the winner of this is Whale NSM, WHALENSM. I don't know whether that's W Halen small SM or Whale NSM. I don't know, but it's WHALEN. SM, you have just won this guitar, and send us your information and we can get it out to you. And there's a little amp that comes with it and a whole pack that comes about that. If you happen to be Whale and SM overseas, I apologize. We cannot send the guitar overseas. It just doesn't. We don't send guitars overseas. So if you, hopefully, you are in the States. And if you can, please email us and let us know that you have gotten it. Great. Before we go, I wanted to thank Will. Thank you so much for being a part
Always
of
a
this
pleasure.
wonderful playing, and it's great to kind of hear your heart behind playing. I wanted to close out. We're going to play just a simple arrangement of the song America the Beautiful. It's kind of a rather important day for our country. So I thought we would play just a simple version of America the Beautiful as we close out. So let me kind of get my sound going. All right, good night, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.